This video is inappropriate for children, and to be frank, it could be inappropriate for you. Hi, it's John, and welcome to the channel. It is Tuesday, September the 2nd, 5:44 a.m. Hope you're having a great day today. Hope you had a great long weekend. Hard to believe we've got the long weekend in September behind us. Within the next 3 months, we'll have snow up to our eyeballs here in Calgary. I've got my big blue mug of coffee, tasting oh so sweet today. Thanks for being part of this channel. If you have subscribed, by the way, if you haven't subscribed, please click on subscribe. Thank you so much. So today I want to start with a couple of quotes. Those of you who have been on my channel and have been following here for a long time know I like quotes. I have a long list of them on my tablet in a document. And every time I see one that I can learn from, I keep it. So here are a couple of quotes for you. Very appropriate for today's topic. A lie can travel halfway around the world before the truth can get its pants on. Now that's been attributed to either Winston Churchill or Mark Twain, but it's a very truthful comment about lies. And here's the other one for you. A lie told once is still a lie. A lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. Now that's attributed to a propaganda minister for a political organization in 1930s and 40s Germany. What's interesting about this is if I were to say this guy's name and the organization he was involved in, I would probably get this video demonetized on YouTube. Just goes to show where we are when it comes to the lies of the left here in Canada. Because I want to talk about this so-called book ban here in Alberta. And all I've got to say is, I want Alberta independence, but a lot of people on the independent side, we admire Danielle Smith because she doesn't take any shit from anybody. And she's not taking any shit from anybody on this. And I'm beeping out the word shit because I could get demonetized for saying that word on YouTube. Later in this video, I'm going to show you some video, or I might show you some video, of what the left wants kids to see in schools. But let's look at how hyperbolic the left has gotten when it comes to the so-called book ban, scare quotes, book ban here in Alberta, which isn't a book ban at all. Let's go to the screen. Now, just before I get to these articles, and you'll find these all over the internet if you look up Alberta book ban. Before I get to this, I've got a little different perspective on what's really going on here and why the left is losing its mind over this. Of course, they hate Danielle Smith. They hate the right. They hate anything that they call, Maple MAGA in this country. But I've got a different perspective on this, which I'll get to before we get to the end, okay? So this is the kind of article you're seeing online. If you look up Alberta book ban, this is the kind of misinformation you're being fed because these stories don't tell the truth. This is from the CBC. Alberta book restrictions in schools raise alarm bells for BC authors. This is from Global News. Margaret Atwood takes aim at Alberta's school library. Books banned with satirical story. I'll get to Atwood in just a moment. Another one on the CBC. They're playing this to the hilt. Canadian author Margaret Atwood takes another shot at Alberta's book ban with satirical story. List of banned school books includes The Handmaid's Tale and Brave New World. So this is where we are right now. All of this is misinformation. Alberta is not banning these books. Danielle Smith has been very clear about this. We'll get to it in just a moment. This is the kind of thing you're seeing on social media. Ravenwood, of course, he's got the Canada flag and the Free Palestine flag, and of course, Ukraine at the top. Why doesn't Danielle Smith pack up and move in with Trump? Banning The Handmaid's Tale and dozens more like Brave New World, and I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. She is a fascist. Then you get people like this. I don't know whether you know who this lunatic is. Laura Babcock. I don't know why her stuff keeps coming up on my X feed. I should follow her. I'm not sure if am I following Laura Babcock? I don't think I'm following this one. I should follow her because it's a never-ending supply of hilarity for me to watch this woman. Look at this woman has lost her freaking mind. She's a nut.
Danielle Smith banning books, including, guess what? The Handmaid's Tale, because, if you don't want people to see the future you want, don't let them read the fucking book about it.
So, this is the kind of lunacy we're seeing online right now. Then you get something like this. Margaret Atwood responds to the Edmonton School Library fiasco with a post trolling Danielle Smith. Kids are smarter than Smith realizes. Let them read and think for themselves. Also, Smith may be just the worst premier in Canada right now. And here's the post by Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood is a nut. She's 85 years old and she's demented. Feel free to read what she has here. I'll leave it on the screen. But this is absolute lunacy. She is insane. She's an old woman and an old leftist woman who has lost her way. She's too stupid to understand what's really going on here, like most people on the left, because they look for confirmation bias in everything. Danielle Smith's a fascist, so look for the stuff that calls her a fascist, and they don't understand what's actually going on here. Here's Danielle Smith talking about this in a news conference, and this is what this is about.
Because these were the images that parents were showing us that were accessible to children in elementary school libraries. And so we asked school boards to use their discretion to identify books that might not be age appropriate for elementary school children. And then and Edmonton Public is clearly doing a little vicious compliance over what the direction is. And so if they need us to hold their hand through the process to identify what kind of materials are appropriate for senior high school students, what kind of materials are appropriate for junior high school students, and what kind of materials are appropriate for elementary school students, we will more than happily work with them to work through their list one by one so we can be super clear about what it is we're trying to do. We are trying to take sexually explicit content out of elementary schools that is inappropriate for me to show on the television news at night, and so it is inappropriate for 7-year-olds to see.
Okay, so she talks about the picture she's shown in this news conference, which I'm going to get to in just a moment, from exactly the same news conference just prior to this. And actually, when I started playing this video, there was a short little, probably 2-frame capture of one of the pictures that's inappropriate for her to show. But she warned everybody that it was actually graphic. And this is stuff that she wants out of the schools, not a Handmaid's Tale. It's got nothing to do with her. Nothing. But the left is lying to you. Brian Lilly with a great article on this right here. Danielle Smith is right. The board is wrong in stupid book ban fight. Danielle Smith told schools in Alberta to take sexually explicit material out of school libraries. I might even get demonetized for saying sexually explicit material on YouTube. Danielle Smith told school boards in Alberta to take sexually explicit material out of school libraries. In response, the Edmonton Public School Board leaked out a list of 200 books they would be removing and claimed they had to take these books off the shelves to comply with a provincial directive. School boards in this country hate Danielle Smith. We're going to have a teacher strike here. And the teachers' unions are likely going to strike because they hate Danielle Smith. They hate the right. They have no morals. Gone would be Margaret Atwood, Alice Munro, Maya Angelou, and George R.R. Martin. The move by the Edmonton Board is a political stunt, an attempt to start a fight with the Premier and her government, and so far it's working. Like I said at the beginning, a lie told once is still a lie. A lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. I'm going to get to a point here that other people aren't getting to in just a moment about the left. It's being described as a book ban. It's being described as driven by the province. It's not. It's a temper tantrum by the Edmonton Board because they don't want to take 4 books with graphic visual depictions of children and youth engaged in sexual activity off the shelves. Why is that? Why don't they want to take these books off the shelf? I'm going to get to the books in just a moment that Danielle Smith showed in her news conference. Why don't they want to take them off the shelf? Lily gets to this at the bottom of this article. One more point on the video. The claim is always that this is anti-LGBTQ because some of the images in books focus on that, but there are images of straight kids having sex as well. Do you remember when you were a kid? I know times have changed and we've moved on, but do you remember when you were a kid and you walked into your local variety store? I used to go to Greer's Variety down the street when I lived in Sarnia, Ontario on Devine. It was at Devine and Indian Road. It was called Greer's Variety. For God's sakes, it might still be that called Greer's Variety. This is 50 or more years ago. And you'd go in and there'd be the magazine rack. And at the top of the magazine rack were all the magazines that had brown paper over them because there were scantily clad women on the front of those magazines because it was inappropriate for children. And the left wants these pictures in schools. And it's even worse. It's stuff you wouldn't even see in the magazines that they've had 60 years ago. Not even close. Why is it that they want these things? But Lily makes a very good point here. Is this guy, Russ D? He's tired of big government? Thanks, Russ. For Christ's sakes, this isn't a Government of Alberta book ban. The Edmonton Public School Board added this to a list of books they are banning to make a point. Shoddy narrative being promulgated here. Absolutely. So, this is from TikTok. Here is Danielle Smith showing the pictures, and you're going to see the pictures here. Okay? She shows the pictures that are banned in school. Here we go.
I'm going to have to show the screen here because people aren't kind of getting what it is we're trying to do here. We are trying to take graphic pornographic images out of elementary schools so that kids are not exposed to age-inappropriate material. So I'm going to leave it on for 15 seconds. I'm warning you that the content may be disturbing and it's not appropriate for young users. Viewer discretion is advised. I know that the cameras probably can't print it on the evening news tonight without probably facing some kind of Broadcast Standards Council complaint. And I know that I would get delisted from Facebook for showing these kind of images on Facebook because they're pornographic. That is what we are trying to address. There's another one here. Please take a look at it. I'd invite all of the school trustees to take a look at it too. We have tried to be as polite about this so that people understand what it is. Here's another one so you can have another look at the kind of material that we think should not be exposed to young children, aged 7 years old. And I think we've got one more that we would like to show you as well. Here is another example. So I don't know how much more clear we could be.
This is disgusting.
This all began because these were the images that parents were showing us that were accessible to children in elementary school libraries. And so we asked school boards to use their discretion to identify books that might not be age appropriate for elementary school children.
Ladies and gentlemen, I had to blur those out. It was inappropriate for kids to see that. I don't have a lot of kids watching my channel, but I would get demonetized because I'd have to lie. I have to say whether things are for kids or not when I put my videos up. This video would definitely be demonetized, and there's a possibility I could get a strike on my channel. If I were to show you the pictures, they're disgusting. Now, here's the question that most people aren't asking. I said at the beginning, I've got a different take on this, and this is what I try to do here. Is the left really concerned that Danielle Smith is banning this material? Or is the left really upset that they can't show children this material? Now, there's a difference. Are they really concerned about Danielle Smith banning this material, or are they really upset that they can't show children this material? You know, we call people who show children this type of material. It starts with a P and it ends with a vert. I'm going to jump to the conclusion that they want children to see this inappropriate material. I think it goes back to what Lily said in this article about the alphabet people. I think that the left wants to groom children, and they want to groom your children. And Danielle Smith is trying to protect children from inappropriate sexual material in schools. That's all this is about. It's got nothing to do with Margaret Atwood and A Handmaid's Tale or 1984 or any of the books that the Edmonton School Board is trying to make an issue out of here because they want to make political points against Danielle Smith. And the lie is being continued, and it goes around the world before the truth can get its pants on. And I'll bring this up to you right here. I've used this quote before. Vladimir Lenin, give me 4 years to teach the children, and the seed I have sown will never be uprooted. I think these people are wanting to groom your children. If you can get your kids into a private school, for God's sakes, do it. I spent some time in schools over the last couple of years. I was part of a bike program. I'm just stunned at how ridiculous things are in schools these days. God love the teachers that are teaching the children. But God damn the teachers who are teaching children about this kind of stuff and think it's appropriate to show them inappropriate material. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I haven't been on the comments over the last couple of days. I've been rather busy. I try to read the comments when I can, but please leave a comment below. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. I will see you in the next one.